Nitin Pai, that's the government's opinion, that's the Congress opinion. What do you think? A few days on Twitter, do you think the government's been effective?
First of all, I want to delink this from the political story, because it is the PMO, as Mr. Tharoor said. It's the PMO and not Dr. Manmohan Singh, the person who is tweeting. Now, the good thing about this is that the Prime Minister's office has not allowed this space, has not ceded this space and left it vacant, and finally come in and filled it to provide a authoritative and definitive view of the PMO. And the second thing is that it sets a precedent for government departments across the length and breadth of the country to say that, look, Twitter is a legitimate medium for you to go out and engage the public. Don't wait for an RTI to, before you have to release information to the public. You can do this on your own and on a regular basis, in fact, on a minute-to-minute basis. And that's the kind of government information strategy which we should be aspiring for.
Okay, now, okay. So you obviously think
the bad news. No, the bad news is interesting. The bad news is that Twitter is just should be seen as the extension of an overall communication strategy where the Prime Minister and the government reaches out to the public. Yeah. Now, we've been in a situation where the Prime Minister has been very conspicuous by his absence. And I don't think that you can govern a country of 1 billion people by being silent. So, in the sense that we've seen an absence of the government, in fact, at the highest levels of the Prime Minister reaching out to the public and convincing them and building a narrative which is in line with the government's policies. But we've not seen that. So when you just bring in Twitter and say that, yeah, I'm going to tweet and get the message out to the public, you're just getting the icing, you're missing the cake.
Okay, you're saying let's de-link it, but the thing is that, the political story is kind of embedded in it because it came at a time when, Mr. Rajagopalan, would you agree? It came at a time when people were talking about that. And, the whole change happened. Pulok Chatterjee, new NDTV's media advisor coming in, Pankaj Pachauri joining, leaving, TV anchor leaving and joining. So it came at that time.
As Shashi Tharoor said, and even as Mr. Pai says, it's a very interactive one. It is very dangerous one. You have to tread it very carefully.
But you're not a fan of the way they're doing it, right?
Yes, of course, I have my own view.
Yes.
The reasons are, during Parliament session, PMO tweeting will become a privileged motion for the opposition. It becomes very handy for the opposition, and it should have been carefully treaded. How PMO, whether it was the GOM group of ministers on media, authorized the tweets. So far, they have not, cared to go in for tweets. Suddenly, they went in for tweet. My view is, when Comptroller and Auditor General questioned the authority of the Prime Minister, and he wrote a long letter to the Prime Minister, 4 or 5 pages, dealing with that. Suppose if I tweeted, and will Dr. Manmohan Singh answer to my questions? When the first apex court of the country sent an, sought an affidavit from PMO on 2G issues, if I tweeted to PMO, will that be an interactive one? Okay. Before sending it to the Supreme Court, can they share it with me? Before giving it to the Parliament, will they share it with me?
You want that response,
this type of thing is going to be, and I am very sure when they launched this, they would have had a structured debate within the PMO, within the government, within the GOM on media, which Dr. Manmohan Singh appointed last year. So they would have taken these things under control. I am very sure it's very dangerous. Tweeting is very, very, very carefully you have to do. Twitter is an interactive one. It creates disputes, not it solves disputes.
Okay, Nitin Pai, would you agree with that? Because some of the things that we've seen on Twitter, on the PMO's tweets have been it's like a lot of people are saying as well, these are like PIB press releases, his pictures with the Thai Prime Minister, the President, things like that. Is that safe? And bottom line, you're saying it's a great thing, right?
You see, it's very interesting because if you look at the US White House, the US President, the British Prime Minister, if you look at the British Prime Minister's Twitter feeds, most of them are very similar to what the PMO India is tweeting. It's about the Prime Minister met this, the Prime Minister said this, links to his speeches, links to his photographs. But the difference is the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom is doing a lot of other things and reaching out to the public on a lot of other medium, including blogs, he's speaking on TV, he's giving regular press conferences. So what happens is the Twitter account sort of alerts people to whatever else he's doing and the other kind of messages which he's putting out. But in our case, the fear I have is that it will end up being a very dull and boring set of tweets which just tells people that Dr. Manmohan Singh gave this speech and that the speech is full of the usual boring stuff. So because what you're missing out, and this is the point I want to make, the Twitter is a way for you to engage the median Indian in politics. The median Indian is not more than 29 years old. That means half the population of India is below 29 years of age.
Sure.
And if you want to engage them in a national narrative, now I'm not talking about the political narrative. Of course, the politicians are there because they understand this much better than the others. But the government of India, the Prime Minister of India, should be able to engage the people who are 29 years and below. And if he comes out on Twitter and puts out very boring stuff, it looks like an uncle who comes to a teenager's party and pretends to be cool. It's not going to work that way. So I think the ruling party, because of him being on Twitter needs to be taken out of that GOM legalistic thing, because I mean the moment you get a committee involved in deciding who's going to tweet and what's going to be tweeted.
No, we have to wrap, but I just want to wrap with the last line from Mr. Rajagopalan. It's meant to improve image. Will you write nicer things about the PMO?
Yes, why not? Why not? After all, he's our Prime Minister of India. Yes, he's our Prime Minister of India.
Will make you write nicer
things?
Yes,
of course. And also, we get response from him. That's more interesting.
That's more. Well, we will wait and see if we get response or not from the PMO Twitter handle. Nitin Pai, R. Rajagopalan, thanks very much.